Hey everybody, this is Benjamin Wan. Today is May 15th, 2019, and I'm coming at you from Tucson, Arizona. This is one of those times where I come in and I got something to say to you, and I'm hoping that a lot of you out there are listening, whether you're my friends or my family or somebody who maybe I've never met before. Welcome to my podcast. This is Electrify Your Mind with Benjamin Wong. So, right off the bat, let's talk about it. I'm just here to talk today. You know, I was reminded today by my cousin, Derek. You know who you are, motherfucker. I was reminded by my cousin today that this podcast originally is about expressing myself and getting the word out there so that either I can be heard or I can share ideas of my own. I call this podcast Electrify Your Mind, and I don't know if the first two episodes electrified anybody's minds or not, but as a review from my cousin, it's like, man, those episodes got me down. They had a tone to them in the beginning, and I took that to heart, and I got a little kind of hold on. Well, I'm thinking about changing out the microphone because it's kind of scratchy. Anyway, so I always share when I first start with my cousin, let him know, see what he has to say, because I actually take his opinion in high regard, and his original opinion was, hey man, those are pretty dark. I could tell by your mood right away that this was going to be one of those kind of episodes that you didn't want to listen to it. And it made me think to myself, like, I took it to heart and said, oh man, this is too much. This is, yeah, maybe it is pretty dark. Maybe people are not going to want to listen to episode 3 if I brought them down with episode 1 and episode 2. So, I got all caught up and I stopped producing, and it was like, okay, I kind of got in a I guess a holding pattern is one way to describe it. And really, when you come down to it, it's like, all right, you're either going to produce or you're not going to produce. But I got in my head to the point where it's like, man, I started trying to think about how I can please other people, how I can, how I can make everybody happy, how I can present myself in a way that will make myself more interesting. And really, that wasn't the original point of my episode. My podcast. I'm not here to make people happy. I'm not here to satisfy anybody's needs when they listen to something. I'm here to share my opinions. And really, if those first 2 episodes came off as dark, it's because I am a dark individual. And anybody who knows me, like really knows me, might know that. And maybe if you feel you really know me but still don't know that I'm a dark individual, well, here it is. It's out there. This is who I am. I think I've touched on it in previous episodes about events in my life that has kind of shaped my life, who I become as an adult, from a child to an adult. And basically, here I am again. I'm talking about it. I'm talking about another, dark stuff. And you know what? I, believe it or not, you know me, you don't know me, believe it or not, I am a pretty dark individual. And most people that know me, I'm kind of a clown. Kind of like to joke a lot. Kind of like to make fun of everything. I kind of like to make fun of myself. Like, it's kind of an escape. If you think about it, it's kind of a way for me to escape the darkness that I grew up in. Maybe not even the darkness that I grew up in, but the darkness that has found its way into my heart. And if I'm going to explain that any better, it's to say, hey, I've had some dark experiences, and in a way they've shaped me to be, I don't know, a darker individual. So when you know me or you've met me, you've probably thought of me as a clown or a funny guy. Like, I like to joke a lot, and really it's an escape. It's for me, it's how I hide that dark part of me. But this episode isn't about hiding. It's about sharing my feelings and sharing my ideas, and hopefully some point through that, maybe you'll find something that you can share with me, some kind of feeling that you understand, that you have, and maybe, hey, apparently I have, and it's something we can relate about. It's something that brings us on to the same level, and through that, we can find each other's. I can electrify your mind, as it were, so let's get into it. I'm really just gonna make this episode about just talking. I'm not really gonna give it a theme as I normally would, or as I plan to. I just want to talk. Like, I've been out of the game so long. I mean, I only produced 2 episodes, and then suddenly I disappeared. So here I am again. I'm back. And really, I want to just talk about what's going on. What's going on with me. Let's reveal a little bit more. Let's pull that curtain back a little bit and just reveal what's behind there. What's going on. It's been interesting the past couple of weeks. I've officially left my landscaping job, as I'm pretty sure I've mentioned. I worked as a landscaper, and now I am working for let's say a hardware store. Let's just say that and say nothing more about it. I've been working for them, and they immediately saw the potential in my work, which I would hope, and what I would hope for my son when he grows up and he learns how to be a man, that it will become obvious to anybody who works with me that I'm a hard worker. And these guys saw the potential, and they offered me more time. So where I was working 2 jobs at once, I am now working 1 job, and where I began as a part-time employee, I've already become a full-time employee. Within 2 months, I think I've been working for them. Maybe going on 3, I'm not entirely sure. I think I started for them in February. Yeah, about February 20th, I think. And it's already May 15th. So what is that? February, March, April, May. So we're going on about 3 months here. And I've already gotten awards for my work, for my customer service, for the things that I do. And I've already, now that I have this extra time on my hands, since I'm no longer a landscaper, I have extra time on my hands, and I said, hey guys, I'm interested in more time, and lo and behold, based on my work, they gave it to me. But it's not hard for me to do. I've learned this all my life. It's a bit of a curse, and it's a bit of it's a blessing and a curse. So what I'm doing right now, what we're talking about, I've been missing for a while. I started this podcast and then I just completely dropped off the map. And I think what it is that I got too involved in trying to satisfy people, trying to make sure that the next episode was much better than the last. And what it really comes down to is I stopped expressing myself for who I am. So I've been inspired by my cousin tonight, who has some shit to say about me and about himself, and we had these back and forths about censorship and about satisfying other people, and I realized in our talking that this podcast wasn't about that. It was about expressing myself. So let's talk about it. What I'm doing now, I'm working full-time. These guys offer me full-time almost immediately, and that just doesn't happen in the biz that I'm in. But I've come, I don't know, I think I mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. I've been working since I was 15 and a half, and that's kind of legally in the US the youngest you can start working. And I've been working ever since then. And I'll take that back. I won't say that I've been working every single year, because what it comes down to at some point is I also went to school, and I kind of saw that as working. So if I wasn't in school, I was working. I have jobs. I've had a shit ton of jobs, and the job I'm working now is basically customer service I guess that's the idea all around, is you're going to provide customer service, and the way I provide it now is through replenishment of the department while the store is closed. I work in the garden department, doing my thing. In my mind, it's really paying the bills. It's doing something that I'm good at, doing something that I know, and at the same time I'm providing myself and my son a place to live. I don't know how much detail I went into it about my son, but my boy is everything to me right now. He's basically all I have. He's my boy. And whether it's directly or indirectly, everything I do is for my son. It's funny how that works out, because you grow up and from a very early on age, everything's kind of selfish. It's like, baby wants his bottle, he better get that bottle or he's gonna cry. It's all like, oh, he's gonna get what he wants. And I can admit to myself and be open about it, I've been pretty damn selfish myself through a large part of my life. Shit, even into my adulthood. I'm 33 now, and right up to this point I've done everything for myself. And then, maybe not up to this point, because my boy's almost 2 now, so let's say 2 years ago he came into my life, and the only way he was able to come into my life is I fell in love. I found a woman that I found was interesting and funny and got my humor and loved me for me, and she was pretty damn incredible. And at some point, in the beginning, you kind of, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, basically writing a story in my mind about how we interact with people, how we find lovers, how we have sex. It's right off the bat, your first impressions are what you can see. You can't go on to anything else but what you see. A lot of people go, oh, well, that's shallow. That's you see people for how they look, and you don't see who they are. And all I can say is, well, how the hell else do you know anything else about them until you start talking to them? So this woman that I fell in love with was beautiful, and I liked her. She's got a nice body, and I was attracted to her that way, visually. And then at some point I was like, I'm gonna go after this woman, and she's incredibly sexy. I want to go after her. And through quote unquote going after her, I started talking to her, started spending more time with her, started hearing her stories in comparison to all the other women that I've ever met. And turns out her stories are actually interesting to me. They didn't bore me. They didn't make me go, damn it, when's this person going home? She was with me, and it was just like, damn it, I want to spend more time with her. And at some point, somewhere down the line, I don't know when it happened, but I can definitely say at some point it happened. I found her to be the most, out of all the women in my life, the most incredible, interesting, sexy, attractive woman I've ever met. And all things aside, I decided at some point, I don't know what it was. We were together on off again 4 to 5 years. We get in arguments, we break up, the same old shtick. Oh, I like you. Oh, I hate you. Oh, I like you again. All right, I hate you again. All right, you know what? You're still great. You know what? You're still sexy. Why don't you come back into my life? Well, this woman, damn it, she had me. She had me from the start, and I didn't quite know it until I knew it, And at some point, we made a kid, and it was kind of a conscious decision. I want to have a baby, and I want to have it with this person and no one else. And now we have a son, Amadeus. I'm sure I've showed you guys pictures, if you're my family or my friends. Amadeus, it's my boy, and I've got the 2 stepkids that my lady came into the relationship with, which in the beginning I was like, man, these kids, I don't know them, I don't have feelings towards them, but if I'm going to be with their mom, they're in my life too, I could accept that. And somewhere along the line, they turned out to be great kids. So in reality, I've got 3 kids. There's no offense to them. It's just Amadeus was my firstborn with my blood. Started in the beginning, like if I was there for the beginning of Augie and the beginning of Ava, which I was pretty close to Ava. She was about 2 when I came into her life. If I could be there for the beginning, there'd be that extra connection, so I'm connected to these kids, but Amadeus, he's my firstborn, and man, for those 2, my stepkids, I would do anything for them, and that wasn't always the case, but it's become that because I've spent so much time with them. They've taken on my habits, and they've taken on they've accepted me, and I've accepted them, and through something they became like me, and I became more like them, and we melded together as a family. And then when Amadeus came along, we were together. That was it. He was it. He solidified that they had a brother in me, and I had a father in them. And I don't even know what the point I'm getting at here is. Just a little more revealing of myself. I think that's what this podcast will be about entirely. It's just, this is who I am, and this is what's going on with me right now. I kept putting off doing the next episode because it was like, all right, it's got to be better than those other 2. They were pretty dark. I was told they were dark, and when I went back and listened to them again, I was like, you know what, they are pretty dark. But hell, that's me. And up to this point, I kept putting it off because I wanted to top them. I wanted to beat them. I wanted to do a better episode than the other 2. I wanted to do better, and until I figured out how to do it, I've told you before, I'm a scientist. I'm always approaching things and attacking them different ways and testing things and thinking about them over and over again and approaching them from different angles. And at some point, I started making it my goal in life was to top those other 2 episodes. I wanted to bring the episode up, and then once I had an argument and a conversation with my cousin today, and listened to his episode, and I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I've been trying to please people. I've been trying to make this episode for other people, and that's where I lost track. I lost sight of what this was all about. And what this was all about was expressing myself and sharing something about myself that's real. And I lost so much sight of it that I stopped producing. If I couldn't top the other two, I couldn't produce at all. And fuck it, I'm gonna sit down tonight. I've had a few beers and I got in an argument with my cousin, the same cousin that convinced me that and I don't even know if he meant to. I just realized it in talking to him that this podcast isn't about other people, it's about me, and I just want to share it. I want to go out into the world and say, hey, this is me, and you can either take it or leave it. It doesn't mean a thing beyond me expressing myself. If you guys are interested in tuning in again and electrifying your minds, let's tune in. Let's have this conversation. Let's talk about it. And again, if you guys follow me, if you guys want to check out the YouTube channel, whatever, and just click the subscribe and follow, you'll get alerts on when the next episode is. I swear it's coming. So this is gonna be like the 3rd episode. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that I got too in my head. I got too focused on satisfying people for their needs and forgot about my own. Forgot about the absolute point of this podcast. So here I am, just throwing it down again, just kind of revolting against my other urges to satisfy other people. And hopefully as a result, you'll get something out of this too. I think that's kind of an underlying thing, is that I'm hoping that in listening to this, you'll get some kind of sense of who I am, and you'll get a sense of yourself and how you feel, and you'll have something to compare how you feel against somebody else, and in this case it's me. So back to what I was saying, what's going on with me now is I've got my boy, I've got my baby's mom, my 2 stepkids in my life, and I'm working at a quote-unquote hardware store. And hell, I'm 33. What's funny, like going back to the episode of Child versus Man, it's like, hell, I still don't feel like an adult. Like somewhere along the line, I'm still a kid. I still have these crazy childhood notions of like, all right, at some point I'll be an adult and I'll know it. I'll form these ideas and then I'll either correct them or completely abolish them through time, through experience. And right now, I still don't know what the plan is. I still don't know what's going on. But I'm here and I'm talking to you. I found a way to express myself through this podcast. And I just want to talk about life. Like, where is it going? I was listening to my cousin's podcast, which he started recently, and he was talking about res life. And I got an episode coming up that I want to call the Native American Stigma, which will basically be about basically the understanding and misunderstanding of information about Native America. And he was talking about the res, and to me, res means home. It means where I came from. And after this argument, I was like, man, I brought back all this stuff, all this pain and feeling that I grew up with. And I touched on this pain and anger that I have a little bit in my previous episodes, and I'll touch on it again now, is that my life and my experience on the reservation has shaped me to be a certain kind of person. I have a person with a country, a person with a home. Like I've said before, I'm patriotic both for the nation and the United States. And I got these feelings about how the world should work, how I should interact with the world, and how the world should treat me, and how it all interacts. And these feelings came up tonight, and right now I'm finding myself in a situation where I'm sitting down, I'm having some beers. Like, I don't know if you heard me crack my can, but I'm having some beers tonight, and especially after the argument with my cousin who I love dearly. I really do. But whenever I have an argument with him, shit gets real really quick in my mind, and I start to examine myself and him and my interactions and how I act. And as I mentioned before, my anger comes up a lot. I have these feelings that my environment and my raising has shaped in me. And man, I just gotta get it out. So that's what I'm doing here. Let's talk about it. Tonight I'm feeling low and angry and kind of little, which is not really a new experience for me. I feel little right now. Hold on, I'm gonna have a drink here. I feel little right now because even though I feel righteous in my anger, I feel like once again I've let my anger get the best of me. And I think anybody that knows me, or even as I know myself, this will be a lifetime struggle for me. Especially, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I guess this episode's about updating you. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, about my anger. Like, fuck, after 33 years, I'm still realizing things about myself and my attitude and my feelings and my world and the group of people that I keep in my life and the people that I don't or I used to. And hell, something I've been able to admit to myself in the past, let's just say year or so, something I've learned about myself and I've been willing to admit about myself in this past year or so is that I am an angry person. And every single time I say that, every single time I think about that statement, I kind of chuckle inside like, oh, this bitch ass motherfucker, this guy that, this little person, this guy that doesn't know. If you hear that, that's me making a mixer right now. It's a little Fireball and some Dr. Pepper. Not a drink I make often. I don't think I've ever mixed these two together, but it's on tonight. So, back to what I'm talking about. Something I've been able to admit to myself, or have realized about myself, is that I'm an angry person. And like I said, whenever I say that, it sounds cheap. It sounds kind of cookie cutter. It sounds like something that everybody says. It sounds like a cop-out for the guy who beats up somebody. He's like, oh, I'm just an angry person. It's like, no, you motherfucker, you have issues that are undealt with, and you beat this person up. And it feels like a cop-out when I say it, but it's really one of the truest statements I've ever said about myself. One of the clearest realizations I've ever figured out about myself was that I'm an angry person. I've got anger, and there's issues that I have that are unresolved from my childhood, from my, I don't know what the hell you call it, my teenage years, into my young adulthood, into who I am now, which I think I am a man now. I think I can finally say in my damn 30s that I'm a man now. So I'm in my 30s, early 30s, let's keep it real here. I've realized I'm an angry person, and it plays an important role in my life all the time. A lot of times it's out of control. It's not something I'm controlling. It's something I'm reacting to instead of dealing with. I get angry sometimes. I catch myself going, oh shit, like that got out of hand quick. and now I have to deal with it. Or instead, in the best case scenario, it's like, all right, I'm angry about this. I'm going to use this anger and do that like it's fully in control, and it's not. Absolutely is not. And maybe that's another part of the realization, is that I'm realizing I don't have total control of myself. I don't have total control of my anger. It oftentimes runs me. It becomes part of me. I say foolish things, I do foolish things, and a lot of times it's out of anger. And like tonight, this kind of drove me to make this episode. Is had an argument earlier with my cousin, who again I'll say I love dearly. But it's just another scenario where I gotta question myself. I told you in the previous episodes that I've been trained to question things, and what's interesting is, hold on, I'm gonna take a drink. Oh yeah, Fireball. Ooh, that's extra cinnamony tonight. Like I said, I was trained to question. I was taught that we grow up with ignorance, and that ignorance shouldn't rule us. It shouldn't be thought of as a negative aspect of us. It should be thought of as an advantage. It should be taken, and we use our ignorance to teach us new things. We use it as a positive thing to shape our future selves. And unbeknownst to me, unexpectedly to me, these questions, this ability of me to question everything, to like almost methodically produce questions, I've also started to question myself, which is interesting. I've begun to examine myself, and that's kind of what brought about this whole idea or argument of me saying I am an angry person. And like I said, even when I say it, it sounds stupid. It's like, I'm an angry person. I'm one of those guys, and it makes it okay for me to say that. It sounds like a cop-out to me. It's like, I fucked up yesterday, but hey, I'm an angry person. No. Through very careful, very drawn-out examinations and questions of myself, I'm starting to realize I'm an angry person. I'm starting to realize that some situations in my life played out because I'm an angry person. And I've made mistakes because I'm an angry person. I've hurt people I love because I'm an angry person. I've said things that I wish I never said because I'm an angry person. And the only way I've reached this point is through questioning. And, man, in those times where I'm doing this job at the quote-unquote hardware store, there are a lot of times where I have time to myself, where I'm alone working, and it's just me in my mind, and I may be physically focused on the task at hand. I have an agenda, and I got to get the job done by the end of the night, but in my mind is on a whole other level, and it's questioning, examining myself and my ideas. And what I come up with sometimes is eye-opening. Like, I would say a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I finally just admitted to myself, or at least was able to say, I am an angry person. And what came from it was, it actually started clarifying situations in my life that I still have trouble understanding. It's like, holy, that's why I did this. That's why I have trouble doing this. That's why I argue so much. That's why when somebody says something like this, that's why I snap and just start like, I am an angry person. And through self-examination at these times where I'm just kind of working, doing the same old monotonous thing, because I've done it so much for years now that I can do the job almost brainlessly, and then on top of that, my mind, the upper levels of my brain are doing this self-examination of situations and my thoughts and things I've said and things I've done and things that other people say. And hell, it's an ongoing thing. And maybe you as a listener understand what it means to be angry, or maybe you haven't realized about yourself that you're angry, but here I am, and fuck, I'm an angry person. I've got in an argument tonight because I'm an angry person, and sometimes I've realized that the lines get blurred between enemy, friend, or foe, that like, alright, this person is my friend, so you don't attack your friend. But as an angry person, sometimes a friend will say something that sounds like a foe, and then almost like a immune deficiency virus, your immune system will attack itself because it doesn't recognize the good stuff as good stuff, but as bad stuff. So it says, I'm gonna attack this and eat it up. And being an angry person, sometimes those lines get blurred. So I attack people that mean the world to me, like I have tonight, and like I have in the past. And these situations developed where I started realizing, hey, these kinds of situations are what made me realize, fuck, I'm an angry person. Fuck, maybe I'm not so in control of myself, of my anger, of my emotions, that I've allowed these bad scenarios to play out. So I've realized a few things tonight. It wasn't that I'm an angry person. I realized tonight that I've put off doing the next episode because I've been trying to satisfy other people, which is really not the point of this podcast at all. The point is to express myself. And B, even after I realized I'm an angry person, mishaps still occur. Lines get crossed, and sometimes I hear patterns or signals in conversations that maybe they're there, maybe they're not. I don't know. The lines get blurred when you're angry, when you're so overwhelmed with anger that you react before you think. You find patterns, you find tones in people's voices and their words before you ever start analyzing them. And this is going to be a reoccurring theme in the stories that I tell you about myself. Is throughout my life growing up, there have been times where I've reacted. I heard something. Maybe I've been taught this way up to a point, and then I just took it. Like, one thing I'll say again and again is oftentimes my anger protected me. I call it my shield. Growing up, I had a lot of enemies. I had a lot of people that didn't like me for who I am or because of how I looked. And in the earlier years when I was really, really young, and when the difference first arrived, like, hey, you're different, and I don't like it about you, people would attack me and treat me a certain way, and I didn't know why. I couldn't figure it out. And the only way that I could combat that and feel safe and protect myself is by giving what they were giving me and giving it back. And anger was kind of the root of all that. It was they were angry about their lot in life, and they were projecting it on me because I looked like the people that brought about their problems. So they show me nothing but anger. And me being a young innocent boy, I would crumble under the weight of that kind of pressure. I would get beat up, whatever. And eventually, at some point, I don't know when it occurred, like the first time I realized I was different. I had a different skin color and I was softer, maybe. It was like first grade. That's pretty damn young, you know. We enter kindergarten at 5, get in first grade about 6 years old. If you can imagine a young 6-year-old boy suddenly, suddenly being treated like an outcast, or like the reason for other people's lives to be bad. When you hit that point, you either crumble or you start to fight back. And it took me a long time to be confident enough, or maybe quote unquote angry enough, to fight back. So let's say age 6, I realized I was different. Age 6, the torment began. That's a good drink. Age 6, the differences began to be pointed out. Ooh, that's Dr. Pepper and Fireball. That cinnamon kind of does something in Dr. Pepper that I wasn't expecting. I've never had that before. This is a different kind of drink here. I recommend it if you're an adult and you want to get your drink on. Maybe if you're a young adult and you want to get your drink on, give it a shot. Fuck, I had no idea when I was young. Back to the point. I became a target. And you know, hell, it happens. It doesn't have to be on the res. It can be anywhere. You're a child. And, you know, everybody's fighting to find themselves. And at some point, you know, you have to have an enemy so that you can be okay. So, in a way, I don't blame the other kids for treating me that way, because they had their own feelings. They had their own struggles. And at the same time, fuck those motherfuckers. So, I became a target. And I started getting... I used to be so confident in myself as a little kid. Like, before, up to that point, I wouldn't let anybody mess with me, because that's just how it was. I didn't think there was a point. I had no weaknesses. You know, you're just a child. And it's like, fuck you. I'm gonna fight you back. Whatever you want, I got you. And then suddenly you're different, and then suddenly you have weaknesses, and they get exploited by everybody else, because hell, they got their own weaknesses, but of course they don't want to point that out. They're gonna find it in you and exploit it. So there I am, young little boy, defenseless, nice. I was very nice and kind as a younger kid. I was thinking about this today. I was like, fuck, at some point I was nice, and at some point I stopped being so nice. I was thinking about it. I still have deep in me this hope and this optimism for, you know, the movie life, the greatness, the dream life, the fairy tale. I still have that in me, but it's buried deep under layers of armor and protection and anger that I've learned after so many years of being attacked. And I used the anger to defend myself, because that got results against the anger that was being put against me. And at some point, damn, it got real. I became bigger and stronger, and I could use more than anger, but physical violence to defend myself. And, you know, assholes will be assholes. They don't care if you get bigger and violent. They'll just become more angry and more violent. And through that, you know, I got very defensive. I got angry. I got powerful at some point. And, you know, assholes will be assholes, but some of the weaker bullies that are really just cowards, they backed off. So I was getting positive reinforcement at the same time. I became, my anger became reinforced. It's like, hell, not everybody will stand up to you if you stand up to them back. And that's kind of something you teach kids. It's like, all right, why don't you fight back, you know? Fight them back. Don't let them don't let them do that to you. So at some point, I figured that out. And really, I kind of think it was about 7th and 8th grade. I think part of it was I joined the football team. I think that was the first time on the res where our school had organized sports. I'm sure there was Pee Wee or something like that, but I was in school and I didn't get to do that until later. And hold on, let's see here. So I started defending myself, and I started getting stronger and bigger. And as long as the anger protected me against certain individuals, it was okay. It was positively reinforced. And unfortunately, somewhere between that and who I am now, it got out of hand. The lines got blurred, as I said before. You kind of defend yourself against friends and foe if the lines get blurred. So, right now, there's been positive and negative results of this that have affected me today in this certain specific scenario where I've gotten this argument. And the positive aspect is that here I am. I decided to podcast again. Let's get episode 3 out there. Let's get re-interacting. And the negative, so I got in an argument with somebody I love dearly, my cousin. Hopefully you're listening, fucker. I love you, you asshole. Anyway, back to the point. This is like an update. This is what's been going on with me, and I think that's really what this podcast should be about occasionally, is updates. Yes, I want to present subjects and themes for the episodes, like Border Patrol and aliens and space travel and like I said, the Native American stigma, the stigma of Native America. And tonight, it's not more about a theme, but really just about catching back up with me. This is what's going on with me now. Whoops, excuse me. So here I am, 33 years old, little boy. It's about to be 2. And I'll tell you this, I think about it all the time. Think about myself as a child and what I went through, and think about my boy. Like, shit, if anything makes you self-examine yourself when you got a child, it's like, damn it, am I doing anything to him as his father, guardian, protector, provider? I gotta examine myself. Am I teaching him to be angry like me? Because I'll tell you what, although I've done okay through, my advantages and disadvantages, I've done okay. But I'm an angry person, as I said, and that's something that I don't want for him. I don't want my boy to be angry. And so, as part of this whole self-examination, I have to say, am I teaching him that to be about himself? Am I showing him that anger could be his shield, when really I'd rather he maybe, I don't know, I want to say if he approached it more scientifically, he'd be okay. But hell, I'm a scientist, as I've said in previous episodes. I am overrun. Like, the major ruling part of my life is logic and science, and I approach things this way. And I'm going, okay, he's just like me. I can tell, like, he's not even 2 yet, and I can tell he's a scientist, and like he's something. He's got it. He's got what I got. He's highly intelligent and very scientific, and he explores stuff. Give that boy a button and he's gonna be pushing that motherfucker. He's gonna be touching that button left and right. Like, he likes seeing the lights come on when you push the button. He likes, hearing sounds when he touches the button on my printer. I'm like, hey son, get the fuck out like, get away from that printer, stop touching it. I get mad at him, and so he sees my anger. But at the same time, I realized the other day, I was like, hell, The only reason he's touching that printer is because he likes buttons. He's trying to find out what's going on with that fucking printer. He's like, what's going on here? I'm going to push that fucking button. I like the sound it makes. Why is it making that sound? So just like his daddy, he's scientific. But like I'm saying, I worry. I self-examine. I question. Am I teaching him to be like me? And hell, being like me isn't the worst thing that could happen to him, but god damn it, God help him if he's an angry person like me. That's not something I want for him. That's not something I want for my lady, my baby's mom. I don't want to be, see, that's where the lines get crossed. I've been angry with her, I've been cross with her, and really she's not my enemy, she's not my foe, she's my friend, she's my lover, she was my confidant. You know, you don't want to attack your confidant, you don't want to treat your partner like an enemy, but as an angry person, those lines got crossed from time to time, and I'll treat her like she was an enemy when really she's not. So I worry about my son and go, damn it, I don't want him to do like I did. And then I think about my own father, I think about myself, and I'm like, alright, at some point, where do you draw the line? At some point, where is he gonna learn that? Like, I seen him do angry things, and what's funny, it was funny, but at the same time, I go, oh shit, like, there was a moment where, you know, he'd grab his bottle and throw it on the ground because I wouldn't fill it with milk, and I was like, hey man, there's no more milk, and he's like, oh well, I'm gonna take this bottle and slam it on the fucking ground, Dad, and I'm like, oh shit, like, I look at him like, is that a natural thing, or did I teach him that? And I'm like, oh crap, like, for the love of God, don't let him be like me. Like, half the time I'm fucking proud of him to be like me, be like his dad. Like, I fucking love him to death, but god damn it, God help him if he's like me on certain aspects. I don't want him to be angry like me. You know, I had it. I don't want to cop out and say I had it bad than most or whatever, but I did have it bad. Like it or not, I had some kind of special situation in my life where it made me angry. Made me think that anger could be a positive thing, like anger could protect me, and then at some point anger got out of control, and suddenly it ruled me, and suddenly it got out of hand, and suddenly I'm being mean to my lover, I'm being angry when I should be nice. And hell, now as an adult, I gotta deal with that. I gotta live with that. I gotta live with my decisions, and I gotta be, you know, you try to be better than you were in your past. You try to be better than people in your lover's past, and hell, where do you draw the line? Where's the guide? There is no guide. There is no rule book, you know. There's no guideline to follow to live your life perfectly. You just experience things, and you go through life, and you find out what works and doesn't work. And hell, I was gonna say 9 times out of 10. I'll say 8 times out of 10 in my previous years, anger fucking won out. It fucking made sense. You know, in specific scenarios, it's like, man, anger saved my life a couple times. You know, the ability to turn anger into physical violence, to fight back against people that are trying to hurt you, that's a positive thing. But then you get in an argument, and then your anger gets so out of control, you start treating your friend like a foe. Fuck, you just fucked up. You just crossed the line. This once positive thing has suddenly bit you in the ass, and you made a bad decision, and you have to live with that. And fuck, through self-examination, you realize, hell, my anger is out of control. I'm an angry person, and that's what I'm talking about. That's where I'm at. And at 33 years, I finally figured it out. Maybe let's say 32 years, 31 years, I finally figured it out. Fuck, right? Or maybe I knew it, but I can finally say it out loud. I'm an angry person. And hell, it's a struggle. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're not an angry person, hell, I'm sure you've come across a point in your life where you go, hell, I gotta live with this. There's something wrong here and I gotta fix it or deal with it. And, win or lose, whatever way it comes out, you gotta figure something out, or you're just gonna live with it. You're gonna be stuck on it. And I think in my family, in my friends, and whoever's listening, I'll bet you, this is the electrify your mind part, I bet you found something in your life that just made you, let's say, act a way that you won't necessarily approve of, but seemed right at the time. And I guess, as an update, I'm telling you right now, this is what I've been thinking about. So, let's just call this episode the update episode. This is where I'm at. And whether you know me, whether you talk to me, whether you're my family and I wish we talked to each other, whether you guys are out there in Ohio or you guys are here in Arizona with me, examine yourself. Think about what's been going on in your life, and are there things that maybe you're not happy about? Because I'll tell you right now, there are things in my life that I'm not happy about. And I look at my boy and I go, when I see him do that angry face, there are times where he does this angry shit and I'm like, is that me? Or is that him that naturally comes about? Like, humans in general seem like some violent individuals. You see apes, before us that do violent things. And you go, okay, that whole examination, nature versus nurture, is this something he learned or something he was taught? You know what I mean? So I'm saying, look at yourself. Think about what I'm saying here. Are you an angry person? Or is there some point or aspect of your life that makes you take a step back and go, whoa, am I happy with this that's going on in my life? Like, this is the electrify your mind part. Think about it. What parts of your life are you happy with, and what parts of your life are you kind of, let's say, you're cross with yourself. You're at odds with yourself. There's something you're not quite sure about. For me, it's my anger, and I worry about my son. I worry if he'll learn this from me. And anytime I see him throw a fit or whatever, I look at him and go, damn it, did I teach him that, or did he come by that naturally? A lot of it's obviously natural, but when he shows true anger, I go, whoa, what is it that I'm teaching him? What is it that I'm putting out in the world? And I sure as hell hope that choices that I make from here on, now that I can admit that I'm an angry person, I hope that my effect on the world, my effect on my little man's life, my effect on my stepkid's life, my effect on my baby's mom's life, my effect on my relatives, including this cousin that I've been arguing with tonight. What effect do I have on the world? And how do I want it to play out? If you're listening, Derek, I fucking love you. Don't worry about it. And all you other cousins out there, your family, if you're listening, man, I love you guys. If I've ever been mean to you or whatever, I'm sorry. Electrify your minds, guys. Learn from this. Think about this. Examine yourself and do something about it. Anyway, I think this is an hour. This is a good episode. I think I talked about a lot of subjects, and like I said, guys, if you show up on my YouTube channel or whatever, subscribe. That way the next episode that comes out, you automatically get a notification when it comes out. I'm gonna do my best to make more episodes faster, because I think I finally figured out that this isn't about satisfying everybody. This is about getting the words out, getting to express myself. So until next time, we'll talk about it. All right, let me know what you think. Hell, share a story, tell me what you're thinking. Let me know. I'm open to all comers. You guys want to come in and talk about it? You want to say something about an episode I'm talking about? You want to suggest something I should talk about next? I'm all ears. If you're an angry person, fucking keep that angry shit away from me, because I got my own anger. You don't want it. You don't want it. If you think it help me with my anger, give it a shot, but don't piss me off. Fuck. Anyway, cheers, guys. I've been drinking beers tonight. Whatever, you know how it is. Have a good night. Until next time, we'll talk about it. All right. Subscribe, guys. Do notifications. Whatever you got to do. I'll tell you when the next episode's coming out, and I'll hopefully the next time I talk to you that life will be treating you good, and you'll at least know something a little bit better about yourself. Electrify your minds, guys. Open up your mind, examine stuff, turn it over in your head, and then come back and do something about it. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is Electrify Your Mind with Benjamin Wong. Like I said, it's May 15th. I think it still is 2019. Until next time, think about yourself, guys. Bye.